Hey, it's Tonscark11 with the final episode of the Blade Buff series, where I go over how the less than great blades of Xenoblade 2 could be buffed to fit their niche better, or to make their niche properly work, because in most cases, the niche blades really don't have anything going for them. And in some cases, we're just adding niches to blades that don't really have anything special about them to begin with. So, I did not cover katanas. You might be wondering why there's no episode on katanas and we're at the last episode already. I mentioned that in the first episode on shield hammers. Katanas are already pretty good. They all fit their roles well enough. And since katanas are mainly used as stat sticks anyway, they won't really change how they're used too much even if you do buff them. So that's why I didn't bother going over katanas. The only one I could see buffing, because they already have a really unique thing that they do, is Newt. So I could maybe do an episode on katanas if anyone actually wants to see that. But for now, this will be the last episode. So this is going to be on the Storyblade Catalyst. If for whatever reason you're watching this and you haven't gotten to at least Chapter 8 of the game yet, then save this for later because this will be major story spoilers. So I'll give a 10-second spoiler warning. Alright, so if you're still here, then you know that Catalyst is the name of Blade Nia's weapon. So, the issues with Blade Nia. Unlike the other blades we've gone over, most of the time their niche is not well executed. Nia, on the other hand, her niche is perfectly executed. She's just absolutely perfect at healing. There's no one better at healing, especially raw healing. She just has everything you need to keep the party at max HP at all times. But healing in Xenoblade 2 is not that useful. By Chapter 8, it's really pointless to have healers on the party. And by post-game, there's just absolutely no reason to be running a healer when everyone has self-sustained healing methods. And instead of dedicating a party slot to a healer, you could dedicate it to more DPS instead, which is going to be drastically better than having a healer that's not doing much damage. So then how do we fix a blade whose entire thing is healing? As already said in past episodes, just adding damage buff to everyone wouldn't be fair, because then everyone is just the same. They're all just DPS blades. But Nia, we are going to be adding DPS, just not a straight up DPS. We're going to be adding DPS that fits her niche of healing. So first off, the arts, I'd say, are also pretty good already. Can't say there's much you could really do with her arts. I think those are fine as they are. Nia, she's got great stats. Very high for a healer at least. Auto attack stat, decent block rate. Grit could be better. Defenses are nice. She's got 3 aux core slots. She's got 2 very useful blade arts. But again, her whole issue is just that she's all about healing, and you don't need a healer. So, nothing we can really do with this, because we're going to be keeping her niche of healing, of course. These are already great. One thing I would do that's a minor buff to these is I would increase the area of effect on these. Just make all of her specials massive AoE. This one is really good. Keeps the party healed without even doing anything. This is garbage. This is the one we're going to be replacing. And this is pretty nice. So we're only going to be replacing one skill on her, but it's one skill that's going to have a huge effect on her playstyle. So there's quite a few blades that really are just built around one skill. One skill makes them what they are, like Dagas or Crossette. So what we're going to be replacing this with is increases damage dealt by 1% for every 100 HP healed to the party, capping out at 600%. 600% damage multiplier achieved through healing. So, and I believe it counts healing even if the party's already at max HP for her specials that require you to heal a certain amount. So that's why 100 HP. So it's going to be just passively increasing her damage even when the party's already at max HP. I mean, even if they're not, then... I mean, even if it doesn't work that way, I'm pretty sure it does work that way. But even if it doesn't, then it's still not going to be too hard to just keep passively increasing damage like that. And so with the whole issue of that you don't want a healer because of lacking in damage, so if you have a healer that is also high DPS like this, and this is going to be a massive damage multiplier. Crossette, I believe, is only 500%, and she's one of the top tiers. So 600% damage multiplier, that's going to be huge. She is a story blade after all, so we're not trying to make this one balanced. We're trying to make this one broken. Now, if having a healer that can also deal damage, that means that you don't need self-sustained healing on everyone else, and you can instead focus them on increasing damage further with other things, like instead of having avant-garde metal, you could have multiple damage increasing slots, accessory slots. So by having Nia around as a healer that can actually make it useful to have a healer around, because she can still deal damage, then you also open up more strategies where you're not required to have self-sustaining on anyone, because Nia will be covering all that. And you can instead just focus on increasing damage even further with everybody. So that's really the only thing that we need to do with Nia, is just give her that one skill where it fits with her niche and makes her high DPS. So 600% cap damage multiplier with 1% gained for every 100 HP healed to anyone in the party. Now you could also, another variation of this, maybe make it a little lower, maybe somewhere around 200%, but apply it to the entire party. That's another option here. Either one would work pretty well. One is just more party-based and the other is more personal-based. But either way, I think it would make her incredibly useful. Either 600% multiplier on her own, or 200%, maybe 250% multiplier to the entire party. Maybe 250 would be too much, but I forget how much Dagas does. I think Dagas is only 120, or maybe he's 150. I'm going to check that right now, just to be sure. Just Dagas. Okay, yeah, it's 120%. So I think 200% then would be fair. 200% damage increase to the whole party based on healing. Yeah, so that's it for what we would do with Blade Nia. It's really the only thing we really need to do. And since this is the last episode now, I'll just leave Cat on here for a second. Also, I've got some other Xenoblade videos coming up that I have plans for. The next one will be an expanded version of the video that originally inspired this series, one on blade availability. So I'll be going over where certain blades could be found if they were available as cores, like Cassandra was. I won't be doing that for every single blade, but quite a few of them I have ideas for where they could be found if they weren't gacha blades. So, see you next time!